Good morning. The First Amendment, it is one of the most precious rights that all of us as American citizens have. Believe me, it is very important to me because of what I do every day. The First Amendment allows me to come here and talk to all of you and give you my personal opinions, whether you agree or disagree. And I can't be arrested or prosecuted. I can criticize my government. I can criticize other governments. I can basically say what I want, what I believe to all of you. And those of you who disagree with me, that is your First Amendment in action. You have the right to call me out and say, you are so wrong. I completely disagree. Now, I prefer you do that respectfully, but sometimes people hide behind fake names and their computer screens, and they say some pretty snarky stuff. And then that's up to me to say, well, you know what, my show, my page, I'm going to remove that because I don't appreciate personal attacks, especially personal attacks on my viewers who are responding and commenting on my show. But that's our First Amendment. It protects us. It protects our speech. I can write a blog about anything I want. And I can believe anything I want. And included in the First Amendment, this is where it gets important. And I know some of you are going to go, oh boy, she's hitting that hot button topic. Yes, it is. It's religion. Freedom of religion. Now, we all know that freedom of religion means that anybody has the right to practice any religion they choose freely. I agree with that. I agree with it wholeheartedly. I also believe that included, though not specifically spelled out with freedom of religion, is also freedom from religion. And in my personal belief of how I read the First Amendment, that means that nobody can force me to practice their religion. Just like I can't force anybody else to believe and practice what I believe and practice, which I really am not practicing anything at this point. I have my own personal beliefs and they are mine. And I have shared them on other shows and it's fine. But I'm kind of on the fence with organized. I certainly don't practice any organized religion. And I don't appreciate it when someone who does tries to force me to live by their beliefs. Now, I talked a few weeks ago about Facebook and how some people have to hide their profile. They have to change their name or use a fake name because their employer is watching. And the employer is using the First Amendment against an employee. Basically, if you work for me, I'm going to look at your Facebook page, and if I don't like something you said when you're not on the clock, I can fire you. And it happens. It's happened. It's happened to people I know. They've been fired for something their employer found out on Facebook that had nothing to do with job performance or what they were doing at work. It was an off the clock thing, and they lost their job for it. And that's why we see a lot of people I know personally, who are using fake Facebook names. They don't put their full name so that their employers won't be able to see what they write and what they do on their off time on Facebook. Sounds to me like some of the employers are kind of infringing on their employees' right to, first of all, enjoy some free time, and that employers are trying to control their employees even when they're not on company time. And I think that's wrong. This is how the First Amendment can become a double-edged sword, so to speak. Because the employers are using their freedom to go online and investigate their employees and then using their employees' words against them to fire them. But there's something else going on, and it's going to be a big deal pretty soon. It is about business owners who basically are saying that because of their religious beliefs, they can refuse service to some members of the public, even though their business is open to said public. Okay? This is going to be a big deal in June. The Supreme Court right now is hearing a case, and is David Mullins and Charlie Craig, and they are the plaintiffs in a case, and the defendant is a baker. And these two young men legally got a marriage license and were planning their wedding. And they went to this baker to order their wedding cake. And they took one of the young man's mothers with them. It was so proud. She was in town. So they said, oh, Mom, come with us and we'll taste cakes and it'll be a fun day. And they walked into the bakery because there was no sign on the door saying that they couldn't. And they sat down with the owner and they started looking at cakes. And the owner looked at them and said, who is this wedding cake for? And the two men proudly said, it's for us. And then everything changed. And the baker said, well, I'm really sorry. I don't make wedding cakes for gay people. And as you can imagine, in front of this one man's mother and future mother-in-law for the other guy, they were humiliated. Absolutely humiliated, mortified. Now, this baker is using the First Amendment in what I consider an evil way. Because what he's saying is that because he goes to church on Sunday, and he has been taught from his church that he should not agree with gay lifestyle, that he's not going to do his job. He's not going to bake a cake, which is his job, for this gay couple. Now, a lot of people are divided about this, and I think it's a no-brainer. But I'm sure some of you will have a lot of comments after I finish. But I want you to really listen to me. Because some of you out there are going to say, well, I don't like gay people. Why should I have to open my business to gay people? Okay. You have that right. You have a right not to like gay people. Do you not like black people? You think you could not serve a black person in your bakery and get away with that? Or would the ACLU be coming down on you like a ton of bricks? Do you think you could ask a person ordering a cake for a baby shower if the mother-to-be is married or not? And then say, well, not going to make the baby shower cake because she sinned. That baby was born out of sin. She had premarital sex. She's having a baby without a husband. I'm not making the cake. My church says that's wrong. What if I walk into a bakery when I was getting married to my husband? My husband was divorced. We lived together before we got married. What if the baker said, so, have either one of you ever been divorced? See, my church doesn't believe in divorce, so I can't make your cake, your wedding cake. I don't believe in second marriages. You were supposed to do it the first time, till death do us part. Or they could ask, you live together. Oh, you're living in sin. I can't sanction this. I can't bake your cake because you've been living in sin. They could ask me if I walk into a bakery to buy a cupcake. Have you ever had an abortion? Now, I haven't. But what if I had? Can they refuse to serve me because their church doesn't believe in abortion? And how far is this going to go? And believe me, you guys are looking at me right now like I'm losing my mind. But let's compare it to something else that has nothing to do with religion. Okay, let's talk about smoking bans, right? 25 years ago, I started hearing all this stuff about they're going to ban smoking. And then they did. The government buildings, they banned smoking in government buildings. Okay? No big deal, right? I'm like, oh, they're never going to ban smoking in bars. Then they did. They banned smoking in bars, indoors. I was like, oh, well, all right. I can live with that. But they'll never ban smoking outside. And then they did. New Jersey beaches and boardwalks, you're not allowed to light a legal freaking cigarette. You're not allowed to light a cigarette in Times Square in New York. Okay? Now, I don't believe that anybody ever got any kind of illness from walking down a boardwalk past me smoking a cigarette. And if you know someone who can prove that they have, I'd love to talk to them because they should be studied. But it is ridiculous. I go and summer at a place. Oh, I sound so posh, summer. I spend my summers at a trailer park where they have a pavilion on the beach with a no smoking sign. And then you have the beach where you are allowed to smoke, but then you have a beach playground, which is literally 12 inches or 12 feet from where you can smoke, but you're not allowed to smoke on the playground. Like, I can't sit on the swings and smoke a cigarette, but I can walk 3 feet away from the swings and smoke a cigarette. But God forbid you smoke around the children. And I never in a million years dreamed that there would be this war and discrimination against people using a legal product, tobacco. But it happened. So, whatever you think about gay people, you have to think about what's going to happen if Charlie and David lose this case in June. Because we already saw an article, it came across my desk, that Donald Trump would like to expand the religious freedom part of the First Amendment to the fact that a medical doctor who is a Christian will be allowed to refuse to treat a gay person. He will be able to refuse, based on his religious beliefs, to treat anybody who doesn't agree and believe as he does. Now, can you imagine the lines in the ER? If you have to fill out a questionnaire about your religious beliefs before a doctor will treat you, you know, you've got a dish towel wrapped around your hand because you cut yourself slicing up some onions and you need stitches, and they're asking you, well, are you a Christian? Do you go to church? What church do you go to? Have you ever had an abortion? Are you gay? What? It's wrong. But it could happen. Unless these businesses are willing to really advertise their prejudice, their bigotry, and put a sign up. You know, we also see these signs. No shoes, no shirt, no service. I'd like to see these religious, fanatical business owners who own secular businesses. They ain't running no church. They're selling cake, or they're selling fried chicken, or they're selling pizza, or they're medical doctors. I would love to see them put a sign on the front door before someone walks into their store and is humiliated in public. Put a sign up that says, no shoes, no shirt, not a Christian, no service. We don't serve gays here. Kind of reminds you of the 50s and 60s where the diners had signs, whites only. Put a sign up, Christians only. And there'll be a test before we sell you a cake. You have to take a test. It's wrong, and you all know it's wrong. You do. And again, where is it going to end? Where's it going to end? Same-sex couples have the right to get married. You don't have to like it. It's the law. We all heard the story of Kim Davis down in Kentucky. She worked at the court, the clerk's office that issues marriage license. Her job is to issue a marriage license to anyone legally able to get one. And she refused to do her job. She actually went to jail because she said it was against her religion to issue marriage licenses to gay people. Okay, well, then you're fired. That was my comment. If you can't do your job, then don't do it. I'm not telling you you can't practice your religion and hate gay people. You can do all that. But then you shouldn't be working in an environment where you have to provide a service to gay people. That's all there is to it. There have been pharmacists in this country that have refused to fill birth control prescriptions because it is against their religion to use birth control, legal birth control. A woman walks into a pharmacy with a prescription written by a medical doctor, and the pharmacist says, nope, you shouldn't be using that birth control. My church says so. There was an ER doctor very close to where I live, where a rape victim was refused the morning after pill at the ER because the doctor used his religious freedom to say he didn't believe in that it was abortion. And she went banging on all these pharmacy doors, begging someone to give her the morning after pill after she had been brutally raped. That was a lawsuit. If you can't do the job that you want to do, if you open a bakery and you say we are open to the public, that means all the public, not just the people whose lifestyles you approve of. And to be very honest with you, it's none of your damn business who is buying your cake. It's just the fact that they're buying a cake. They have money. You take their money, you bake their cake. They're not asking you to come to the wedding. They're not asking you to officiate the wedding. They're not asking to have the wedding in your church. All they want is a freaking cake. And it's your job to provide it, whether you like your customers or not. Hell, there are a lot of business people out there, and I used to do customer service. I dealt with customers I couldn't stand the sight of. But I treated them with respect because it was my job. And they had every right to get my attention and the service that I was providing, no matter what. I didn't like them, but I definitely had to give them respect and service. It was my job. I was getting paid to do that. My husband and I boycotted Chick-fil-A. And we boycotted Chick-fil-A because they refused to provide birth control in their insurance plan to their female employees because it's against their religion, and they got away with it. And that pissed me off because I was a religious user of birth control. And because my husband is self-employed, I had to pay for it out of pocket, and it was fine, but it is expensive. But I used birth control because I didn't want to have to make that horrible choice to have an abortion. But if I had gotten pregnant, I would have had an abortion. And no matter what y'all think of abortion, abortion is legal too. No one's forcing you to go out and get one. But it's legal. And it's none of your damn business if one of your employees has an abortion or if one of your customers that comes in for a cake has had an abortion or orders a pizza or a patient if you're a doctor. That's none of your damn business to judge them by your religious beliefs. It is not up to Chick-fil-A and their CEO to ask people on applications for jobs if they're Christians, if they go to church. What church do they go to? And they do. And I have the proof. But the person who can prove it won't go and do an interview with me. But they told me, and I believe them. I actually got a copy of the application. And they tell their employees, we're closed on Sundays, so you all can go to church. That's illegal, by the way. It's highly illegal. You cannot ask an employee's religious beliefs before hiring them. And you can't fire them or prevent them from using birth control. You can't say to an employee, we don't believe in birth control at this company. We would prefer you don't use it. In fact, we're not going to put it on our insurance plan. So here's the thing. People say to me, well, you're not gay, okay? Why do you fight so hard for gay rights? Well, because I'm a woman who used birth control for 35 years. And because I see the gay thing turning into a much broader slippery slope that we're all going to go down if Charlie and David lose this fight. There's a quote that I would like to say to you, and it's one that I love dearly. And I don't say it completely the way it was originally written, but it just means a lot to me. They came for the Jews, and I wasn't Jewish, so I didn't say anything. They came for the gypsies, and I'm not a gypsy, so I didn't say anything. They came for the blacks, and, well, I'm white. Didn't say anything. They came for the gays. Well, I'm straight, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for me. And as I looked around, there was no one left to stand up and say something for me. Political Paula, out.